just like that.
All right, welcome.
Flashed or something.
Welcome once again to the Voyage of the Fallen Star, run by yours truly. I am Zach. Unfortunately, we are down a member of the crew this week, but well, we'll see how that manifests as we move forward. This is session 3 of our campaign, in which our adventurers have just finished a delve into the ruins of an old temple dedicated to a star and sky worshipping cult. And inside, they recovered a wondrous magical item, the astral compass. This item, this is what it seems they had been sent into this temple to recover. It feels like a very powerful thing, and in fact, through some experimentation, the group was able to find out it in fact tracks the presence of the nearest piece of astral star metal, which Bungo had recovered in a different area of the dungeon. The party on their way to the compass came in contact with a ghost, the ghost of Magnus Barrelblock, a halfling adventurer who had sent an expedition into this very dungeon almost 60 years earlier. And has now, he and his expedition all died to the various traps and defenses of the temple. And so his ghost now has been waiting around for this long period of time with unfinished business in terms of reclaiming a fantastic pirate treasure, the treasure of Scarlet Kate. And so once the group recovered the astral compass, the ghost asked if he could share the body of one of the crew for the adventure, so he could work on completing his unfinished business. And Kylum was gracious enough to allow Magnus residence in his body temporarily. And while the rest of the crew rooted around, right, they found out some minor bits of lore. Minor bits of lore, and recovered some navigators, tools, right? Different star watching implements, and as well as some few odds and ends. But after recovering the astral compass itself, they could hear something happening, something being triggered in the dungeon, and in fact, all the traps which they had passed easily by that had been deactivated or already triggered in the past were now reset. And so the party had to make their way through various traps. One, a scything light beam trap, another poison darts, still another fire-breathing statues. So a great many obstacles stood in their way, but our crew was able to make it through. And as they headed towards the exit, they noticed that their old friend, Harold, I believe it was, that they had given this name to the dragon skull hermit crab that Omarin had named and befriended, albeit temporarily. But now the hermit crab was out and about. It was, pacing around, very agitated, because it could feel, right, something was going on in its home and was feeling very territorial. So the group decided, well, it might be best just to try and slip around this great creature. However, that didn't work out when Bungo slipped in some mud and went careening to land right smack dab in front of this great beast who took it as an aggressive move. Bungo reactively threw out a color spray to try and blind the creature, but that only served to piss it off even more. And so Varanus and Kylum leapt forward, both, sturdier adventurers than the halfling. To
wizard who thinks he's a fighter,
Well, yeah, or a fighter who, has some magical training. Either way. But both of them were able to defend, right? Hold off the hermit crab for just long enough for Bungo to try and make his escape. Although, as he tried to leave without disengaging, the hermit crab shoved a huge, massive claw forward, almost cutting the poor halfling in half. But Kylum very courageously threw himself in the way of the claw and nearly got his own life taken in that.
Close one.
Yeah. Fortunately, he was just hardy enough to resist the threat of death. And so our adventurers, right, scooped up Kylum's body. Bungo scurried out of there, and it was just in time that the group retreated to another room when this massive boulder crashed down and through the ceiling, shaken loose by all the hubbub in the temple. And the hermit crab was unfortunately smashed, caught between this boulder and a temple wall as it pursued our adventurers. So, escaping that immediate danger, they all braved the swim in the underwater tunnel discovered previously and found the secondary exit to the temple. So after crawling through some of these stone tunnels, they emerge into the late afternoon sunlight on the edge of Kraken Bay. So it is about a day and a half of marching that you have ahead of you back to Grayhaven, the port city where you've been calling home for the past at least couple months. So yeah, what do you do?
Are we literally atop the ruined temple? I'm sorry. You said we're
You're sort of at a secondary exit, right? Like a sort of a back entrance that was hidden in a cave, slightly in the lightly forested region surrounding Kraken Bay.
It's daylight. The sun is.
Yeah, it's later afternoon, so you could make a little progress traveling today if you want to, or especially because
I'm soaked. I'm wearing leather boots.
I am soaked, and I am also exhausted ×2 levels. So Varanus just looks. He's probably, as I mentioned last session, maybe being submerged in water is sort of very visibly dramatic and frightening for this particular dragonborn. He's, coughing up water. I think he looks at you guys once we come down the hilltop after we exit, and is just like, I don't know about all of you, but I could use a rest.
Come on, man, it's just a bit of water. Let's press on. I don't fancy spending the night in this forest here.
And I just sort of grumble.
Sweetness is very in favor of staying, and makes it like I think staying is a good idea. I'm soaked, and I don't want to be doing any walking, and Bungo's just been possessed, and Kylum just nearly died. I think we should just gather our wits here. I'd like to take a closer look at Kylam, make sure he's okay, and
How did we get here, Zach? Did we like just walk here?
Yeah, basically,
wandered out of the temple, right?
well, no, I think he means made it to the temple from Grayhaven. So yes, the region between Grayhaven and this area of Kraken Bay is known as the Bandit Breaks, a sort of heavily forested area.
It's called Bandit Breaks?
Bandit Breaks. Yes.
Brakes? Breaks.
The latter.
Okay.
Bray.
We know you live in LA, Chad. Not all of us. You know, that kind of spelling flies around there.
Yeah,
What's the
totally.
reputation of this wood?
Bandits.
Sensing a bandit.
Yes.
Like,
Well,
like nice bandits, or like cut off your hand and send it to your mother bandits.
probably a little. I mean, yeah. If anyone wants to roll a history check, that would be fine with me.
I'll do it. Not with advantage, but.
Well,
I'll
15
do it
is still
because-
pretty good.
If I can recall anything that can aid my case for resting,
Staying.
I think I'll do that. So let me see if
Uh,
I know.
Maybe as we're looking about and just nice.
Very nice.
I seem to recall.
All right. So yeah, this area, it definitely does have a reputation for bandits, but at the same time, you think that might be Grayhaven sort of playing up things to make them seem more impressive when they clear out bandit infestations. Being
Like
so close,
homelessness, you know.
yeah, being so close to the sea as well, right? Bandits tend to be more pirates in this region, right? So some bandits might camp out in the woods, but you're also gonna, this area is also dangerous for wildlife, and there aren't very many communities in this area.
When we exited the temple, was there a little path? I mean, we could just sort of camp out, I would imagine, more or less safely in this hidden entrance for a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Sweetness is like, but why don't we just take shelter and recoup just for a little while? You know, I would like to take a look at Kylam, and Varanus seems the worse for wear.
I'm in support of this.
We didn't even find the secret entrance. You know, what are the odds that some bandit's gonna stumble on us there?
Makes a good point.
Omarin says, begrudgingly agrees, and says, but he is tired of being underground and needs to go for a walk. So he
Okay.
will.
Please don't bring
Go
any
for a
bandits
walk along
back
the beach.
here, Amarin.
Yeah, right. So Zach, at an opportune time, I have some things that I would like to do beachside that we can talk about.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, Omar, and you're heading out by yourself, basically, for some alone time. All right.
Yeah, unless anybody wants to come, it's.
You kind of seem like you want some alone time. That's fine.
Yeah.
I respect that.
At the same time, too, Bungo is like, ooh, this Magnus creature, he's kind of annoying. Who has that compass?
You do.
No,
Or no,
I
you
do
do.
actually. I take out the compass from my pouch to the side, and I like hold up the astral compass, right? Bungo, did you want to take a look at this?
If I could just hold it, I think that would be, would be a great relief.
Of course. And I just hand it over to him.
And You can see Bungo sort of like he eases his hand toward it, and then he does that like snatch, right? And
Like a
he
Gollum snatch?
It's a little
Yeah.
A little
Gollum-y,
Bilbo?
and you can
Sorry,
see
my boy.
his face is just all lit up right as soon as he gets it. But then he sort of his knees almost shake and go weak, and he like sits down, almost overwhelmed, right?
Can I kind of, doctory swoop in and catch him?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like to almost immediately, I'm just sort of examining him, like maybe pulling on his face a little bit and looking in his eyes.
When you do that, one of his eyes like goes very weird. It sort of moves on its own and looks in a slightly different
I
direction.
mash my ear up against his head and I say, is he speaking now?
No, he's not speaking now. So far as I can tell, I'm the only one who can hear him.
Just kind of probing and making a mental note. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. 2 halflings in 1. Does it make a holing?
So they say.
You know, against the crab, he was nearly a quarterling. All right. Well, I take shelter back into the temple, and just sort of like sit down against the wall and try to start easing off the effects of my exhaustion.
Is there anything I, as I don't know, like a medicine check can do for exhaustion? Or
No, so exhaustion is only healed either by a night's rest, cures 1 level of exhaustion, or greater restoration removes a level of exhaustion.
Oh, magic. Of course, magic. And
Yeah, it's pretty much rest is what the doctor. Yeah.
That's what the doctor ordered. Yeah,
You
so
need
that's what I
rest.
do.
Excellent. Does anyone, kindle a little fire to help dry off and warm up?
Yeah, I think I do that as well, as I'm getting all settled.
And you have dragon breath too, right? You can just.
Yeah, maybe I let out kind of like a deep exhale and just sort of like.
Kylam, did we heal you up? I don't recall.
Yeah, I do appear to be
Seems to be.
healed up. So.
More or less rejuvenated. Okay.
From his
all right.
hit die. Yeah, do any of y'all want to come have a bit of a fireside mingle, or?
I think I'm probably sitting, perhaps, I might, take the time to pull out and, my little sketchbook, and perhaps I'm drawing the spider that I got, and I got a useless fungal sample, didn't I?
Well, you couldn't do
might-
anything
yeah.
immediately with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he won't, but he's just a naturalist.
Mm-hmm.
He's just sort of doing some doodling, maybe a sort of humming some tune he would have heard in a tavern somewhere. A little bit obnoxiously and off key.
I sort of
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
I was just gonna say I see myself probably once I get a semblance of recovery in me, kind of taking out this tome, which has been right at my hip or in my clutches through our last adventure, and looking through it, studying it, really in deep contemplation and sort of fascination of this book.
I ask about, like, hey, so what are you reading there?
Oh, and I sort of look at it and then kind of look at you, and I offer to kind of let you see there what it is. It is this, and Zach, if you have any details that describe it better than me, by all means, chime in. But it's this sort of very worn and weathered by the sea-looking book with lots of stories, essentially, in it. Maybe some illustrations in there as well. And I say, when I washed ashore some weeks back, after our shipwrecked in the labyrinthine bay, among the very few possessions I drifted up with was this, curiously enough.
You found it, or from the shipwreck?
More like it found me, truth be told.
Ooh.
I sincerely think...
Does Skylum go, ooh?
Yes. I,
And hugs his knees closer to him as he settles closer on the fire.
Spooky.
Yeah. Say more.
Veritas, he says, I believe I was meant to find that. I believe it will be one of the many things I'll need to master in order to complete the failed legacy of my people.
I'm just like
Yeah.
staring enraptured, like, what?
And if you look at the book, maybe I kind of like a clawed finger kind of turns through a few of the pages. You basically can kind of see that they're written really like poetically or hard to comprehend at a glance, and the images are similar in that way. And maybe you cast spells, don't you? Maybe you notice that like some of the symbols or glyphs in it could be spells to learn embedded within the stories. So yeah, that gives you an idea of what it is.
Meanwhile, along the shoreline, Omarin, you've found a slight path down to the beaches. It's sort of, cliffs and bluffs a lot here, but you're able to find a path down to the shore.
Do I see any vessels of any kind out in the bay here?
The sun is getting a little low. Why don't you make a perception check?
We'll do such a thing.
What do your elf eyes see? Oh, jeez.
We see everything.
Had to ask. All right, far off. So nothing relatively close to you. You do see a couple ships, and because it was natural 20, I'm gonna say you're even able to make out that these ships have black sails with a pair of crossed axes, in red, adorning their mainsail.
And what do I know about that sigil or that symbol?
That would require a history check.
Right. Any advantage for spending his whole life literally in a boat? You can say
No.
no, I won't be offended.
No.
I'll just roll it straight up.
Well,
Also
still
pretty good.
pretty good. All right, so you recognize that these must be Black Rift vessels. So I can just scroll up a bit.
Yeah, 20 and a 19. Please do.
Yeah, right.
So far, so good. You're rolling.
If I scroll up a bit, you notice to the north of the map, it says Black Rift. So Black Rift is sort of this northern nation. Very cold place. The people out of there, are tough, hardy, sort of like, very, very militaristic. So sort of like almost like a Viking type culture, but a little more sort of centrally organized, right? So they do a lot of raiding and pillaging. They even had conquered Grayhaven at one point before they were pushed back northward. So it's all in all not uncommon to see their ships, but especially two of them together is a little less common. Just to see them in around Kraken Bay.
What did you say they were? It was Black Rift.
Black Rift, sort of slightly smaller vessels, right? They're not full-on galleons or anything. I'd say they're somewhat closer to longboats.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can I tell if they're coming closer or leaving?
They're moving more sort of directly into the bay. So you guys are over at the triangle, right? And these two ships are coming into the bay through, from the wider ocean. But again, very, very far off, right? This is like you're seeing almost pinpricks, but your eyes are so keen that you're able to make out.
Keen,
right.
It'd be like an eagles must experience this. It's just like, wow, I can see that.
What was that, Omarin?
Fucking super far away.
Like any fishermen, any fishing villages? Is there anything around here?
There might be some nearby. Yeah, there are probably a couple small villages or communities. Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at, Zach, is would it be reasonable to hire a boat to take us back to Grayhaven, or are we just gonna have to like traipse through the woods?
I mean, it's always possible, but it's kind of doubtful you're gonna find a boat where you are that would be, available.
Suitable.
Yeah.
Got it. That could go out into the sea. Got it. So
right.
Amaran will just catch some fish and get some shellfish for dinner, and then return when he has some bounty of the sea.
Sweet.
Nice.
In the meanwhile, yeah, back at the camp, everyone is now thoroughly getting warmed up by the fire. And you see, Bungo's been sort of just lazing. Lazing back with his hand firmly on the compass, sort of tracing its edges and.
It's like thumbing it.
Well, the gold and the star. Remember, there's two pieces now of star metal in the compass.
Yeah. There is a bit of a Gollum-ness to his attachment to that thing, isn't there?
And he's like, so now that we've got this, what would you guys do with a wish? I mean, I know it's a long way off, but this is the first steps on a grand adventure, don't you think?
Sweetness kind of snaps to a little bit and is like, what are you talking about, Bungo? This star's not for us.
Well, I mean, we're just speaking hypothetically here, right? It's like, what would you wish for? Come on, everyone's got to have something.
Well, I know exactly what I'd wish for, without question.
I look at you expectantly.
Well,
you want me to share?
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
I know what I'd get.
And just so you know that. No, I
wrote it down.
As far as I know, I'm the last survivor of the Erosiak, a sect of my people who were destined to go on a great voyage. I'm sure you've gathered how that voyage ended up. But I would wish to do that voyage anew and complete it alongside my kin successfully, to be given another chance.
What do you mean alongside your kin? I thought she said people died, like a lot of people. Or that you were the last one.
Well, I suppose you've zeroed in on something I would wish for my people to be back, you see.
A second wish. These don't work like
Perhaps.
birthday wishes, do they?
Yeah, I wonder how the wish works. If I wish for something that required my kin to be alive, would they be alive for the wish, or would the wish...
Sounds like
Not so
something to
sure
ask
about.
the Alabaster Academy.
What would you all wish for?
I think, Sweetness seems really... this is something he hadn't thought about. I really think that it had not crossed his mind that... I don't even think he had seriously entertained... And I think as a man of science, that he still finds this a bit, far-fetched. But given the seriousness of Varanus's answer, I think he's staring fixedly into the fire, and thinking for a moment. So I don't know if Kylan, if you want a chance to butt in.
No, my answer's probably gonna be even worse than yours. So,
Even worse. Yours was bad.
yeah, but I don't know. By the way, is Omarin back for this part? I want to just check in on that.
I'll say he walks in during it.
With some fish?
And some clams
TBD.
and mussels. Yes, with all the accoutrement. No potatoes, though.
Oh, well, I would wish for some potatoes then.
I sort of look at Kylam and after giving this like approving nod toward Omarin as he comes in with the presumably with some haul, and I say, "You're so steeped in mystery. There's word all around Grayhaven of your exploits, yet you don't supply a face to lay claim to them. I don't mean to pry, but what has sworn you to such secrecy?"
Secrecy. It's funny how rumors can grow and spread just because a guy wears like a suit of armor. People are always overthinking things all the time and not just living in the moment. I don't really have a deep reason for most things. I'm just trying to come out here and enjoy the sea and the ocean and live the life that I feel like I was meant to live. Why, if you look too deep into it, you're just going to get lost.
Well, fair enough. And I probably...
What was your answer?
I think the record reflects that his wish would be for potatoes to go along with our our soon-to-be feast, if I understood that right. Which, speaking of, I imagine I'm probably like eagerly putting some, like fish onto, roasting it over the fire and whatnot.
I think Sweetness seems a little bit maybe fidgety, uncomfortable. This is, his thoughts have been sort of cast into an area that he wasn't expecting them to be. And maybe kind of looking away from the fire and a bit smugly. You don't buy it. He's like, I'm not sure I believe in such things as wishes and fallen stars. It's just a job.
Omarin, what would you wish for?
It's a bit personal, we barely known you for but a second in the life of the elf.
Well, I don't. By all means, don't feel obligated to share.
I mean, now I have to because you've made me sound like a complete jerk. But
Yeah, he's the one who did that.
Yeah, Magnus says you would be really boring if you didn't share. That's what he says.
Wouldn't want that now, would we? Wish for his family, who were taken from him a very long time ago. He knows. He knows by the color of the waves and the way that the birds fly that they're still alive, and that they're okay. He knows nothing about them. He desperately wishes to find them.
Like,
Sweetness cries.
I think Baroness is like, yeah, he's like, I would like to help you find your family.
So,
Do you guys want to find 2 more stars?
That too.
We're gonna find. You know what? We're gonna find a star for each of you.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a gold star.
Yeah.
That's it. It sounds like we got great wishes, great stars for everybody.
Let's just sign up. Let's just, get a pecking order here. It's the wish first, or I guess really the star medal, the wish, and then your family.
I mean,
gotta go in priority
Why don't
here.
we just wish for more wishes? I don't like. That seems intuitive, right?
We could try it.
Sweetness is definitely, I think, feeling self-conscious and sort of exposed a little bit in this moment. I think he does know what he'd wish for. He's not going to divulge it right now. And he is sort of maintaining this air of kind of skepticism, but he's very moved by, I think, he's doing a bit of internal comparison, right, in terms of thinking about the magnitude of what he would wish for, which is personal, but I think, not on a par with, like, I lost my entire family and I haven't seen them in 100 years. And
Like
I think
350 years.
350,
Wow.
he's judging the shit out of himself.
Yeah,
here
you're
at that point.
definitely being judged.
But I don't know what,
so, Omarin, so you lost your family? You know they're out there. They're not dead. So did you lose them? Like,
They were taken, and I have been unable to find them.
Do you know?
taken by whom? Sounds like a good story.
I will another time. I will need some ale I will need some elvish wine before I can recount this.
Ooh, or perhaps some of my, I need to come up with a name for the draught that I make. That sweet elixir that loosens the tongue and quickens the feet and the
Sounds
loins.
kind of rapey.
It's not.
Okay.
Quickens the loins. It doesn't make anything actually happen.
Yeah, you're in control. You're responsible for your actions. Jesus, it's just alcohol.
Sounds like a brew after me own heart.
Well,
Real quick, sorry, this is a question for Zach. Barrel Block cannot speak through Bungo, right?
Yes, he.
We learned this with Kylum last.
Kylum too, right?
In
Yes,
his head,
only in his head. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Yep. Yes, he's now complaining why he would have to explain that to you twice.
maybe I imagine, given the course of our conversation, turn to Bungo and say, well, any thoughts as to your wish or whatever our friend's wish might be that he's whispered in your head?
Oh, well, I don't think he's after the wish, right? He's after Scarlet Kate's treasure. That's his thing.
It's all hypothetical, really.
Well, sure. Me, I'm in it for the story. The good story. The legend of Bungo Barley Brook. To echo across time. That's what I'm in it for. So, yes, getting the star is important, but I don't want it for the thing that the star gets you. It's the getting the star. That's what I want.
Feeling this sort of, or noting this sort of turn from the I don't know, somberness of Omaran's wish to the sort of hip thrusting ness of Bungo's wish. I think Sweetness is feeling is kind of conflicted and sort of stands up and is kind of stepping over the fire and making his way to the edge of the. I guess I'm imagining this just sort of like a stone corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Making his way and just says, what's the point of all this? Speculating on all these wishes. We're just going to turn the compass over to Remus and, he'll be the one who's making the wishes.
What? Turn the compass over? I thought we were taking it for ourselves. We're gonna be on this quest. Didn't?
Sweetness kind of turns about quickly and is like, when was that discussed?
Fairness,
What was that?
aren't we working for Corvisa?
I certainly am. And I look at Sweetness, and I'm just like, think about it. There is a point. What loyalty do we truly owe Remus? And I've heard from others at the docks that he's no.
He's not the finest captain on the docks, but he's given us a ship, and he's paid us, and I don't know this Corvisa, and I know that you do, and but even still, the point stands that the wish should be hers. So I see no use in this kind of speculation.
Well,
He takes a sip of his water flagon and harumphs, and watches the sunset.
Wow, Amaran, this fish is really good.
Do we, real quick, had we discussed, because we did start, right, the campaign sort of in media res, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was there a plan, or is that something we need to discuss? Are we just hastening back to
Grayhaven?
Yeah,
Grayhaven.
to just, hand this over to Corvisa, run over to Remus and tell him, we didn't find anything, sorry, here's a...
So here's what happened. Yeah, here's what happened as you guys sort of know it. So Ramius had started putting out feelers for information, stuff about the fallen star.
Mm-hmm.
He heard back from a sage, right? Sendrail the Stargazer, right? Who's the one that wrote the letter and provided the map. So Sendrail had found this in his own research and handed it over to Ramius. But Corvisa, a rival merchant prince, somehow arranged it so that those items turned up in Varanus's scaled hands.
And not in Ramius's. He doesn't even know.
He doesn't know. He basically doesn't know that you guys,
Are working for Corvisa.
Right.
Yeah, but does he know that we're here?
Not really. You're still like the ship's been in dock for a bit.
Yeah.
You guys haven't taken on another job.
I wanna backward imagine that Sweetness had to be convinced to come on. So sojourn a little bit, and finally, what convinced him was that we're gonna be well away from Grayhaven. Sweetness, y'all would know, Sweetness is pretty reluctant to leave the ship when it's in port. He doesn't tend to wander around the city. When he does, he seems a bit anxious. He's got his cloak up, and he's sort of shifty and uncomfortable. So the reason he is here is all right, I'll go, get me out of the city. We've been here for a long time. So that was, his sort of MO in terms of coming on this. I'm assuming, so that's why he's still maybe a little bit reluctant and confused about this whole Corvisa thing and what we're planning to do.
Mm-hmm.
So Sweetness turns around and says, so what are we going to do?
Which direction is the compass pointing?
South. Well, west southwest. It's actually the needle tends to. It actually seems to oscillate a little bit from time to time between direct west and southwest.
Oh, we noticed this? I have
Yes.
Sweetness would like to try something.
Bungo comments on it at some point. He's like, I'm not moving the star metal anymore, and the needle is doing a little wiggle.
Sweetness is like, I have an idea.
Yes.
If there's more than one star, perhaps it swivels between them. So let's take out the star pieces that we have and put them on sides of the compass to which it's not already pointing and see if it swivels between them.
My mystical senses are tingling and telling me that the other pieces that we have yet to find are possibly moving or equidistant.
That seems plausible, but
Either way, to the west is the sea, and if we are going to search for them, we will need a ship.
Can I test my
Shit.
theory?
Yes. So, yeah, Bungo sort of holds out the compass. You start taking him
Do I have
around.
to pry it from him a little bit? Is it kind of like,
yeah.
No, he can give it up willingly enough. But when you take it from his grasp, he's like, that comes
Salivating?
back to me.
You don't have to do the ring build.
or is it Boromir, you know, like
Yeah.
Frodo?
No, so basically what you find out after a little bit of testing is that the compass does seem to point to the nearest piece of star metal.
And it favors that one. It doesn't bob.
Right, it won't bob between the two if you keep one closer and one further away.
Well,
Okay,
then from that observation,
if I put them equidistant, does it ding 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 ding?
Yeah.
So there's either two close together or Amaran's theory is correct. The nearest one's on the move.
Oh, sweet.
It's moving. The needle is moving too much.
I was gonna say for it to be way out there, it would be moving hundreds of miles.
And it's bouncing back and forth pretty quickly, right? So it's between the 2 points.
That are equidistant.
I see.
Excellent. I put them back and go to give it back to Bungo, and when he reaches, I kind of just to see his reaction. What does he do?
Oh, he immediately like gives you this accusing, shady look when you pull it back. He's like, but then he sort of
like dealing with a fourth grader, you know, like a little half. I'm like,
then
I can do it.
Well, then he sort of catches himself and he's like, oh yeah, give it back now.
I hand it over to him.
He's like, look, I love the feel of this. It's so good in my hands.
Well made.
Yeah, and I know how to work it too. And he starts shaking it, and suddenly, poof! You see this magical glow infuse his eyes, and he's like, look, I can see magic now. You've got magic, and he points at Varanus, and Kylam, you've got magic.
One who is startled by such, just stumbles wildly backwards and almost trips over the fire as soon as something pops out of his eyes, and it's like, full on, daggers out. He's got his little war pick.
Look like he casts detect magic from the thing.
It does. Yeah, Omar, and you'd be just very familiar with this by now. You can recognize that sort of thing.
If you say that, I will calm down.
And it can also detect the presence of good things and evil things.
I mean,
that's not that impressive.
I was thinking if it does both and it doesn't discriminate between them, then it's useless. But can we set it to detect good?
Well, basically the way it works, it is a magic item, does not require attunement. This is in its description, but for the audience's sake too. Doesn't require attunement, and it has two abilities. One is detect magic, the other is detect good and evil. You can cast them as often as you'd like, but you need to spend your action to continue concentrating. So it is unlimited use, but requires your action to maintain the effect. unlike
Gotcha.
the normal spells.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, very handy. Oh,
Zach,
Blake.
I have something to do.
Sure.
If we get a natural break. So Omarin is going to unroll one of the larger maps that we found,
Hmm.
and of the whole area. Now he's not a fantastic like paper navigator. He uses stars and the waves and all sorts of that hippy dippy stuff. But if he were going to draw out lines from the two potential places, like you put the compass on the map, you line it north up, and he were to draw lines out to
Sure.
the potential places, two theoretically equidistant points.
Why don't you make me a check with navigator's tools?
I will gladly. What
Which
kind of
we-
check with the navigator's tools?
Navigator's tool as well, and anytime you use a tool, right, you can sort of determine which ability score is relevant. Here, I'd probably go with intelligence, because you're trying to, examine it in
Yeah.
this way. So roll your intelligence check with proficiency if you have that.
I do, and I even have this to hit. Oof. I mean, he tried. He
So,
tried.
well, basically by taking a look at the map, right, you get the basics. It could be, giant spur, oh, yes, the map. Here we are. The Great Sea, just to show everyone. I mean, so this is the background, but it's also a pop-out. You can see the whole
So
thing.
this is the map we have now?
Yes. Right. You have a
Giant
copy
spur.
of this. Yeah, so there's the giant spur. That's the closest kind of large island out there. Then we have the lagoons of Storm. Then the Golden Archipelago. Of course, Varanus. Seeing that, isn't the best for you. Emerald.
Pointing southwest.
Yes, it swings between the southwest as well. So the Blazing Isles, the Scales, further beyond the Labyrinth Basin. Yeah.
Gales of the West.
Either way.
Gates of the West.
Oh, is it Gates?
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Either way, we will need a serious ship.
Well, back to the question at hand. If we could procure a ship from either of these merchant princes, then that's what we should do to continue this journey. And
Yeah.
Zach, do I have any reason to think that, the employer that I've, Corvisa, do I think that might be in the cards for us through her?
Yes. So she hinted, right? But, only hinted that you guys would get your own. You guys could get command of a ship, and she would try to arrange. She might try to arrange that.
And so that's what I share with the group and say. So unless any of you have some intense loyalty to Remius, siding with Corvisa will advance our plans much more.
Man, does sound exciting.
Sweetness is stowing his weapons after that little unexpected display of magic, and just rubbing his face and is like, I have a lot of stuff on Ramus's ship.
Oh, we can always head back to Ramius. We can always head back to Ramius before.
Well, I think he was just thinking more of like how to moving it, and also Ramus could just make trouble. Being sort of like holds his experiments hostage.
Well, the way it seems to me, Sweetness, is that you.
Sweetness has never quit a job. All right.
I see.
Fine.
That's a stressful thing.
Well, it's not so much quitting it as it is shifting
Accepting a
details.
better
That's what.
opportunity.
That's all you needed was different vocabulary. I'm not
Right.
quitting. I'm switching.
Changing departments, because they both work for the
Yes.
merchant princes,
Getting
or they are
reassigned.
merchant princes.
I mean,
I-
at the end of the day, you know, this is an opportunity to get on a ship, and I know that's where you feel most at home.
Don't worry, we'll be there by your
You
side to
feel
help
sort
you
of
out.
called out.
Got your ass
Scene.
there, huh?
Yeah, you did. It was nice to get out of Grayhaven for a while.
I, for one, will help you move whatever you need from Ramius' ship, and however you choose to deal with him, tell him the truth or feed him a
Side
line.
quest.
I,
Sneak all my shit out. Sneak all my shit out of our ship onto the new ship, and then quit.
and then quit.
That's
I
what.
will help.
That's what Sweetness wants to do. Wants to kind of be maybe discreet about it.
Are you
Sweetness,
worried about?
You just get yourself fired, and then you can take all of your stuff, and then you don't have to quit.
I think Sweetness is imagining relationships is a little more complicated than that. Sort of like because as a ship surgeon, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong. How I'm imagining is like I kind of have my own space on the ship where I do, it's like
Sure.
where I heal people and I
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
people
you
in-
are an officer on the ship, right?
Yeah, I'm like one of the officers,
Yeah.
and that he sort of has facilitated over the last couple of months me getting to do some stuff that I really. I think he just. It's not even that he feels allegiance. It's almost like a patron or something. This is someone who's kind of supported him.
Sure.
And Sweetness has sort of maybe purchased some of this stuff on the credit of like, oh, you're letting me do this. It's for your ship. That's a reason you should let me do this. So again, I think it's just something that he's maybe a little anxious about whether. And again, Ramius doesn't seem like the most trustworthy.
It's true.
That's why we'll be with you to help you move.
And
I quit, and we can. However, we'll see how it plays out. That's just stuff he's anxious about.
I mean, we got to move all our stuff together, right? I mean,
I don't have any stuff.
I mean, I'm imagining. I've got like my distiller's equipment, my tools in there with.
well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's procure ourselves a ship first.
Oh, and that's kind of what Sweetness I think it was eventually going to try. I was like, let's see what Corvisa has to offer. Maybe she would just pay us for the compass.
Our
Pay us for shit.
impression, having worked with this Ramius.
with Ramius.
Yeah, so we worked with this guy theoretically for like some number of months, right? Like,
Yeah,
was he
at
a
least
good guy?
a
Was he
couple
kind of a
months.
dick?
So Ramius, he basically talks a big game, right? He's been promising a very, very, very lucrative treasure hunting, right? As long as you've been on the ship, he's told stories, anecdotes, advice. He's like, oh, if you don't ever walk down a hallway full of cobwebs. Someone didn't take that advice to heart, apparently, but or he throws out all these little tidbits. However, all you guys have ever done on a ship is just normal mercantilism. That's it. No big treasures. Not even really the whiff of anything. So
I haven't even healed anyone in a month.
well,
I healed Kylan, so.
yeah.
What's the reputation of this Corvisa?
Well, I guess Varanus can fill you in a little bit. Well, you'd know that Corvisa and Ramius have had friendly competition, you might say, for a long while.
Right. Another reason Sweetness is worried about this just pulling me in like, I quit. And I'm going back going to work for it. Oh, sure, yeah, you can take all your stuff and you can go hop on a ship with my rival.
We'll figure it out.
We won't be able to solve the infighting of the merchant princes. We'll have to eventually do something somewhere.
Bungo is already asleep, getting
Yeah,
his
I think
rest
it's
for the
time for
next
me to
day.
work off my exhausted level and do the same.
Yeah.
However,
Hey.
as twilight falls, Varanus, you've noticed no matter how much you've been trying to dry out this new set of robes, this cloak you got from the monastery, it's not drying, and still stink like smells deeply of seawater, right? This salty kind of thing, and you need to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Shouldn't have had her draw your character with that cloak. That's session 2. I take it off.
Nice.
Hey!
But you know what? I would like to use the blessing from my tome if I could.
Did you use that last time?
That's a good question.
I thought I remember
we
it coming
talked
up,
about a blessing. Yeah, during the fight.
but I
Didn't
can't.
we get a blessing from the
Yeah, I
thing?
said
Well,
we
that was
got
a
a blessing from
that
the
was a
thing.
different thing. But
I
I'll
can't remember
I'll
now.
let you go. I'll roll it. Do it. Hey, that is
Hey.
all right. So the tome, right? You call upon its power to give you strength, because you know you would slow the group down basically if you woke up tomorrow
They would
after
think I was a
that.
total chump.
So yes, you're able to restore 1 of your exhaustion levels with a
Okay.
good night's rest. And yeah, the night passes peacefully. I assume you guys sort of take watches just in case, or actually, you got 2 elves who are trancing for their time.
Works for me.
Are we gonna have to do any rolling for that? For the watch?
No. We'll say everything passes good, so you recover hit points, hit dice. If anyone had any death saving throws due to the house rule, they linger, and you would recover them at a long rest. And yes, you awake to a bright, sunny morning. There is this low level of fog hanging out over Kraken Bay. But birds are lighting up the air with their song. And it just feels like it's gonna be a good day.
Yeah, right.
It feels like it's gonna be a good day.
I had the same feeling.
Well,
The salt air, it's
Sweetness
good for your
is
lungs.
Time to hoof it back to Grayhaven. Right?
Mhm. Yes.
Alright,
Let's
That's
roll.
true.
Get up, slap. I check everybody, give them a quick physical. All right, guys, you got your tongue. Everybody's looking pretty good. All right, you still seem tired, so take it easy today. Say to Baroness.
Yes.
Kylam, you seem fine somehow.
Yeah.
It's a pretty
Just like
miraculous.
knock on my helmet, move on. Like,
Yeah.
Did Kylo sleep in his armor?
oh yeah.
We didn't see that face.
Oh yeah, of course he slept in his armor.
I tranced in the armor technically.
Oh, I
Nice.
guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine yeah, let's suit up, let's roll. I probably have a moment where I'm like reading through my tome and I like have like this very like aha like, oh, what? And I'm like just grasping some of the spells in it. And
Cool.
Sort of excited by that.
All right. What's your general marching order?
I'll
Just
lead
curious. All right.
I'll be near the front, maybe near him or right behind him as well.
the way. Maybe Bungo in the middle.
Put the shortest one in the middle, and
Lauren can take the rear.
but you'll take the rear. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
went behind Bungo, but I was sort of squinting at him a lot.
Elves on.
Is it him? Is it the ghost?
Yeah, I know.
Is it
This is what we
him?
call the good old elf sandwich.
Yeah,
All right.
It's a solid order.
And could I
Yes.
have a or what roles do you take while you're traveling through the sort of medium forested area of the bend it breaks? The ground every so often gives way to a sudden cliffside, so you have to occasionally make your way down and around these small waterfalls, things like that. Um, what?
Are we returning the same way we came?
Well, you came out in a slightly different location, but you could try. Basically, someone needs to make a survival check to lead through this area.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be with advantage if we try to do the way that we came?
Um. Well, yeah, sure.
I am trained in survival, but I'm only at +1 total, so.
I have a 2.
Go for it then.
Okay. That was unexpected.
Yeah.
Sweetness was like, gosh.
We're level 2.
My memory for the medical
Right.
sciences seems to be, hopefully serving me. But he's confident.
11. It's not
Uh,
terrible at all.
Well,
He
yeah,
thinks it's the right
Advantage?
trail. Oh,
right. You do have
yeah.
advantage. Yeah.
sorry. I'll just roll it. So that was an 11. We'll just put it
Oh,
Hey, much better.
Oh, yeah.
boy.
So yes, you're able to re-find your trail, heading back through the breaks, and yeah, so you're able to seem to avoid problems fairly well. Does anyone do anything else during? Is anyone trying to be particularly stealthy or gathering food or
Sweetness
potentially
is just occasionally like,
herbs?
watch out up ahead. I think there was a little pothole in the path. I remember.
We'll be watching the birds, beasts, to see if anybody is coming, particularly looking out for danger.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe I'd be
Ooh.
willing to try stealth. I know I'm not technically the first person ahead, but maybe just clasp a hand to Kylem's shoulder if I notice any. Maybe more of a perception than the way I'm describing it, but
Sure.
yeah, an eye towards stealth if need be.
Would it do us any good if Bungo was sort of sustaining the detect evil? Was it evil intent or
No,
malintent?
it's basically supernatural beings, right? Like celestials, fiends. You detect those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay.
The
For what it's worth, I
aura,
can also do that.
Right.
It's a paladin thing too.
But we have the compass,
okay,
though.
we get it.
Yeah,
You're
that's
both
fine.
cool. You guys are both cool. All right.
Yeah. How along the way, so as you're going along, you come to this area where the ground has been broken up a lot, right? These small, granite pieces, right? Maybe a glacier deposited them, aeons back, right? This broken granite kind of area that forest has grown up out of and on, and around. And you remember last time you came this way, that there you found a shortcut. You could cut across a small stream by crossing over a downed tree. And this last time you sort of worked it out that this would save you a good deal of time instead of going all the way around. So,
Well, I'm obviously heading for the shortcut.
Tree.
I'm-
Yeah. Last thing that I'd like to do is fall back into water again.
Do you have like a water thing?
Like, isn't he a
that.
fire dragon? That seems like it kind
I
of.
just sort of
I guess-
call up. I'm like, I found him
that's
half drowned on the beach. Do you remember his story?
Well, that
Nearly-
must have been terrible if you have a water thing then.
Well, it's
Oh, I think that's why he has a water thing. That's funny. Oh, it must have been terrible if you already had a water thing.
So Kylam, as you are up ahead, on the far side of the downed tree, you notice a woman, right, with sort of a day pack, a small sword at her hip, and she's sort of looking out over the tree and looks like sort of nervous, like she's on the far side, but she doesn't know if she can cross it, right? She's not confident in her balancing abilities.
has she noticed us as far as we can tell?
No, I'd say you guys are, not super loud, right? But not trying to be like.
Do I see this? If I see a being, I'm kind of like,
Maybe,
Wow.
maybe
I mean-
we hide.
No, I immediately yell, "Hail there, ma'am! Are you trying to cross here?"
Sweetness is like,
Bandit
Ah!
breaks!
Who are you? I'm just traveling through. Please, yes, I'm trying to cross this log, but I don't know if I can make it.
Sweetness is
Please,
like,
wait there. I'll come across and help you.
This is a trap. This is a trap.
I'm
You know
gonna-
the world we live in. She could be a witch. She could be.
I think I'm gonna hide just in case this is a trap
I'm kind of beckoning to
in these bushes here.
Bandit breaks. Anything could go wrong right now. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess I do hear him behind me, but I'm not even paying a little bit of attention.
so noble.
That's
Well, I think for the if anyone wants to make insight checks from this distance, you would have disadvantage because it's just really hard to read
Human care.
anything. Oh wow, Omarin.
Still a 14. Pretty insightful.
But I think
Omarin-
that was only-
So it's hard. Again, it's really difficult to read things this far away. But you do notice movement, or maybe you see her glance off to the sort of brush next to her, as if something's there.
I will tell Kylam in Elvish that
Ooh, smart.
yeah, that
Unless they're elves.
there seems to be something next to her behind. I'll warn him of this.
Or no elf.
I like basically just turn very briefly and nod, and then continue across and say, just stay there. I'll help you. Hang out right there.
Bungo will watch over you, Kylam. But as you see Bungo starts to strive forward, perhaps his, this ghost in his head is catching up with him, and he sort of just sits, almost faints and sits down. And he's like, "I'll cover you from here, just
Much
in
appreciated.
case."
Do I see him sort of, do his eyes glaze over? Does he just seem checked out?
Yeah, sort of a little checked out, a little.
I think I give him, the quick, once over, quick pat on the cheek, but I
He
realize
pats
that
you
the
back.
situation-
He's like, "You're blocking my
I'm like,
view."
The situation is pressing, so I'll get back with these guys. And I ready myself. I have hand on my little war pick and on my short sword.
All right.
Mhm.
Is anyone aside from Varanus trying to hide?
I'll take some cover. Yes.
All right. So why don't both of you make stealth checks?
Bring
This would be
some
really
ambush.
embarrassing when it turns out it really is just a little old lady.
Normal
Well,
or
we would,
disadvantage?
we would mainly
just-
cautious.
She's watching us.
Well, no,
There's
she
a
sort of
squirrel in the
hasn't
bush.
seen you because you've been in the tree line.
Not that it matters.
Mm.
I'm like, I'm hiding here.
Varanus, on the other hand,
This disappears.
I'm like find like a perfect patch that's like maybe they're kind of yellowish golden leaves in the bushes that like camouflage my scales, something along those lines.
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
gonna imagine that my not so discreet whisper shouting,
Yeah.
Kylo, Kylo.
But I'll also take out my staff and
Mm-hmm.
shield and just be
Sure.
ready in case Omarin's tip that more could be at
Yeah.
be at play here.
I'm gonna
This
move
tree.
here.
So, yeah, so
South.
this here is a 20-foot cliff. Or here, what I'll do is I'll boom.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's like
Okay.
20 feet down there, 20 feet down from here to the water, and 40 feet from this
The
sort of
log.
rock,
yeah.
the log down into the water. Yeah.
Copy.
And here, oh, well, it's like 30 feet and 10
But why
feet.
would that ever matter? It's just
Yeah,
a
this
simple,
seems-
nice young lady trying to
Well,
cross the lawn.
Just
Very
in
elaborate
just
for
in case you fall,
minor rope
right? You
thing.
got to know your falling damage.
Yeah, she's just a sweet, nice
Yeah.
person.
Red border.
She's like, "Oh, be careful."
Careful, it's 40 feet.
And you're in armor. If you go down, you're going to sink straight to the bottom.
There's not a chance he's taking that off. Nice try, lady.
He bathes in that.
Yeah, so I mean, I do cross the bridge. Good to make a check for that.
If you move greater than half your speed, you need to make an acrobatics check, or if you dash. But if you move at just half your speed, then you can cross it just fine.
Yeah, there's no rush. I'll just move at normal speed, or half speed, I guess.
Sure. So you make your way across the the log, right? Sort of creaks a little bit under your weight, more your armor's weight. Yeah, there's plenty of like moss and little vines growing out of it. There are little soft patches. It's slippery a little bit with the early dew of the day, and the spray from the river rushing below. But you're able to cross fairly easily.
Easy for a level 2 paladin, I imagine.
Well, sure.
Yeah, so now that I'm a little closer, I would like to take an insight check of my own with this person.
Sure. Da, da, da.
18.
Solid.
You do think she seems to be like up to something, or perhaps waiting for someone in particular.
So, ma'am, would you like to cross?
I'm ready to help you.
Oh, I mean, I suppose so. Do you mind? Do you mind if my and she sort of turns to glance over to the bush beside her, and you see them actually start to wrestle a little bit, and do you respond to this at all?
Dog.
I put
Bungo.
I put my hands on my swords, but I'm not drawing them yet. I'm just like
All right.
resting them there.
And she's like, "Scratch, snatch, get out of there!" And you see two giant weasels, bound forward out of the brush, and they sort of stand up on their hind legs and sort of looking at her. She pats them on the muzzle. She's like, do you mind if my friends go first?"
Oh, of course not.
I whisper over to Varanus. Animagus.
I step aside for the weasels.
All right, so Yeah,
Are the weasels also gonna need help? Should I help them too? I'm asking the lady.
Oh no, I think they're usually pretty light on their feet. I was just,
Be careful.
they're not gonna go first, or without me. Yeah, but if we're going all together. So yeah, the weasels start.
Zach,
Yes.
could I just before we even get into do my critical analysis on this person?
If she's in range, I think. I'm not sure if there is a
I
range.
don't know. Yeah, let's see if there is a range. Well, no range. I think it's a target
All
I
right.
can see.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
all
no,
right, I'll just
no
have that
problem.
ready. Okay.
Yeah. Um. So Kylam, you're sort of how you leading her? Like, are you taking her by the hand? Like she does seem to want your hand to.
Yeah, actually, I think I'll just get behind her and like hold it like from behind. I'll be like
Mm,
steadying her hip with my right hand and like holding her left hand.
sure.
And just release carefully and slowly, just like go across.
Yeah.
I'm extremely dexterous, right? So I'm not
Right.
really having a hard time keeping my balance or anything.
The grace and dexterity of an elf, nothing comes close.
I mean, the weasels are doing a great job, to be clear. They're coming pretty close.
All right. So.
Hey, Mark, you're not weaseling your way out of that conflict.
So as you're starting to lead her across, she's like, "So what are y'all doing out here? You don't seem like bandits."
Well, I appreciate that. That's great to hear. I would hate to be mistaken for a bandit, to be honest. It would be quite a blow to my self-confidence. I was just out here, exploring, dungeon crawling, the usual.
Zach,
Yes.
while they're crossing and talking, can I just move over here?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
You can sort of creep down
Yeah, I
that
think I'm
that
just
slope.
getting I'll be in a more advantageous position.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How about you? What are you doing out here?
Well, I'm on my way to visit my great uncle at his estate further inland, but I need to cross the breaks to get to Kraken Bay where there's a little more you know nice roads.
I see. I see. And are your weasels also coming with you?
Yeah, they're my friends. They keep me company, bring me little uh, treats every now and then.
Do we know of any estates or settlements or something beyond where we were at?
I mean, they're definitely there.
Okay.
Yeah, they're out there. I mean, um, they would be estates, right? Like larger
Yeah,
pieces of
large
land, kind of thing
plantation
like
like
that. Yeah, yeah.
I can't be bothered to keep track of like these human estates, settled, whatever.
Um, yeah. Well, it's what we have to do. And Kylan, why don't you make another insight check?
11.
Hmm. Yeah, as you keep going, she makes this whistle sound, um, and the weasels, she's whistling a command to her weasels, so the weasels they start running around like seem to be having fun like on the log, right? Sort of clawing and just running like all around its circumference.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
uh,
Loving weasels.
yeah,
Little Looney Tunes.
and that's when
Uh-oh.
two crossbow bolt shafts come out of the forest straight for you.
Plunge into your
Or, rather Rather, roll initiative.
All of us.
Everyone, but there will be surprise going on.
So I gotta ask an unfortunate question. I still have one level of exhaustion, which gives me
Yes.
disadvantage on ability checks. That would include an initiative roll, right?
That is true.
Is
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's too bad.
Yes. Okay.
I'm noticing that whoever these NPCs are rolling better initiative rolls than us.
How is it that
Good eye.
But they're not going
I click
into
my
the...
token and then I do what?
I mean, click the initiative button. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like initiative is like a clickable button with the text where it says the word initiative.
Ah, well, it didn't do it with disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
disadvantage.
Let
I
me
don't
just
know.
do it again.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can just delete whichever one of me is not supposed to be there.
It fixed itself because the second one was lower.
Oh,
So.
gotcha. Yeah.
Okay, well, put me on there.
And
What is the world coming to when you can't just help an old lady and her two weasels cross a bridge?
Well, now you'll know not to do this. And,
DTA, moving forward. Don't
Yeah, I like
trust
that you
anybody,
think I wouldn't just like
baby.
do this harder next time. Just be like,
like,
the problem
no,
is I should.
I'm gonna stand up for my values. The world is good.
I should have just asked the crossbowmen if they wanted to cross too.
My sixth graders just finished reading Anne Frank and the play, and that's sort of like the last line. It's like, people are really good at heart. Which is
that's a take.
I don't know. That's a take on the diaries.
That's a take.
That's a take.
all right. Well, the weasels get up to things first.
Damn. Weasels.
And so they circle around to you, Kylum, and start nipping at your ankles.
I mean, I wish they wouldn't.
So here we go.
Oh,
that's no good.
Was that all initiative?
Yes, they do. Well, they have. Well, they don't have pack tactics, but they do have advantage because you didn't catch on to the signal.
I mean, okay, if you say so.
Which way is the water flowing?
Flowing from the northeast towards the southwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
All right.
Is that battle music in my ear, I hear?
I hope so.
Well, I must have mine turned down. Oh, I did.
Yeah, it's in your setting.
There it is.
All right.
Turn it all the
Well,
way up.
what's the verdict? The first one is a crit.
Yep.
And
so 17 is.
I'd say you.
Get my weapons drawn.
I'd say you got your weapons drawn.
Yeah, because I said that.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you had your hands on them. I didn't realize they were.
I think the minute these weasels came at you, I could imagine.
Is that how
maybe I could make it like dexterity saving throw to draw my weapons in time. Like
no, I'll let you do it, especially because you just got the feat, right? You're eager to draw your double weapons.
We both yearn to save and to slaughter.
Yeah, so with my rapier and short sword drawn, I'm able to deflect the attacks from the second weasel.
Right. The first one
hit, though,
gets you for 9 piercing damage.
I was like, it's just a weasel, Kyle.
And you need to make an acrobatics or a sorry, you do need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Alright. 12.
All right, you're able to keep your feet even though these weasels are starting to tear at you. Okay,
All right.
wow. Unfortunate.
No kidding.
Oh no.
2 crossbow bolts from the area to the south come in at you, Kylum. Light crossbow bolts, if that. For whatever reason, I think this has always roll advantage, which I don't want. There we go.
I do not want the NPCs to always roll with advantage.
Yeah,
That would
yeah.
be unfortunate.
Yeah, that would be.
Well, I just deflect their attacks out of the air with
Oh, yeah.
a rapier.
Hell yeah.
Just
And 2 more from the hill on the east side. Oh gosh.
a bunch of these.
These ones are going at Sweetness.
Look out!
Where are they at?
See on the map over here.
I need to zoom out.
To your right.
Across the
shit,
way.
I thought I was hid.
Zach, you can move the camera a little bit to the east if you can see it on stream too.
Sure.
Good call.
No problem.
There.
No problem.
All right. And because they were also, these guys were hidden from you, they have advantage on their attacks.
Jesus.
Not very good attacks.
No. 13, but the second one's 19.
19.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so you're able to duck, you know, as the first one comes in, your intuition sort of saving you. But the second one, take a little bit of a graze for 5 damage.
And 13. Okay.
And then, Kylum, you are face to face with this this woman, who now that she's out of your hands, she springs and she seems much more agile than she was making herself out to be, and draws her barbed short sword. But she holds it up towards your neck, and you're being defensive, but she's like, "Who has it? Who's got the compass?"
Gasp.
I don't know what you mean, ma'am.
Make a
Still
deception
calling her
check.
ma'am.
Sorry, make a deception check
Oh,
to see if
Yeah.
you give yourself
Sure.
away
this is gonna go great.
inadvertently.
It didn't go poorly
That was all right.
at all.
Huh.
Yeah. Never mind.
Well,
Well, no, she got a 9 because it's the
Oh,
first
okay.
roll.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's disadvantage. Okay.
right. Well, not disadvantage, but she
no,
doesn't.
It's just he's just always rolling with
Straight up.
advantage because he's being a goof.
Well, all the macros on those sheets are automatically set to. Anyway,
I think we said the rule of thumb is if you roll
take
with
the first,
advantage, but
right?
don't need it, you just look at the first number.
Yeah.
All right. So she's like, "Oh, so you're just not who we were waiting for at all." Well then,
Never mind. You can go.
she tries to trip you.
Okay.
So make an acrobatics or athletics check. And you know, I'm going to use a story point
Okay.
on this.
Disadvantage, right?
Um,
Where are those damn story points? Is that what you're looking for?
I'm looking for a pencil. There we are. All right.
Pesky story points.
So remember, just as a reminder for the house rule, you guys start with as many story points as there are players, and I start with 1 at the beginning of every session. So you guys now have 5 story points.
Cool.
I forgot that restarted a session.
Yeah,
Right.
each and every session. Yeah.
I
Like,
would
bonus
have used
bonus.
one to not take damage. Shit.
So what are you using the point for? What does that do?
I am giving you disadvantage on your saving throw. Or sorry, your check.
Yeah, my skill check.
Oh,
Well, that means I rolled a 7 because
I would-
as good as I am with acrobatics, I can't beat a natural 1.
I would like
Yeah.
to do something.
Sure.
Because it looks like I see my companion about to fall off of this log. Is that right?
Well, you've got a reaction, I assume.
A net?
No.
No.
A spell. If it does indeed look like he's about to fall and is in the air falling downward,
It
I would
does.
like to use. Yeah. So I just like have my staff and I like come up from the bush and I'm like, no! And my reptilian hand twitches. And I'll use my reaction to cast Featherfall on him.
Range of Featherfall is 60 feet, I think?
60.
Nice.
Yeah, I just measured. He's at 50.
Nice. Great. Cool. All right. So Kylam, she does this leg sweep out from under you. You smack the side of the log, and you're like, oh, you feel like you're going down. The weasels help trip you up, but you suddenly feel like you're almost just moving in slow motion. Instead, and so you sort of gently sink into the water instead of smacking down into it.
Oh, well, that was unexpected.
But
I
you
feel
can
like-
feel the current is, well, fairly strong, and she's
What's wrong
like,
with this one?
got him. And
It's like if you look up at the woods where I am, it's me doing that meme of that guy being like
1, 2, 3. So, and the woman, she moves towards the end of the log, sort of crouching down. All right, Marin.
Right. Martin seizes up the situation with the crossbowman and everything. Just like it's a dick move, whatever this lady did. So Ilmarin is going to level the playing field with a bit of a. Did that? A bit of a. More time.
that's not his
Bit of a. Bond.
Hey.
There you go.
Ooh.
there we go.
All right, I have a token for that, I believe.
Oh, it was asking me for the level. That's why I feel like an idiot.
Fog cloud.
Where to, buddy?
Oh, can I move it, Zach? I guess I can. I'll center it like
There you
right
go.
here.
Good call. I like it. Oh, yes.
Maybe
Still
over a little
15.
bit. I mean, whatever, close enough.
Well, you can.
Oh, I
Where-
can move it.
Like,
Yeah.
do you want to?
There you go.
Get her in it, or was that your
I want to
idea?
protect us from the crossbow bolts.
For sure.
You almost managed to protect me.
No, you're in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, am I? Oh, I am. Okay, sorry. I was like, I
Yeah.
almost.
It has a little thing around it you can.
Nice.
Yep, I see. I amateur.
All right. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Sorry.
No,
I was trying to move it to the back so it's not gonna cover anyone's.
There you go.
Okay. There we go.
Oh.
All right. Excellent. So yeah, so Omarion, you move up. This fog cloud springs into existence, covering your companions, and she's like, "Oh, hate wizards."
Relatable.
So heavily obscured does what?
Basically, you are blinded
Cool.
while you are inside of it, and cannot see through it, or cannot see into it. All right, so yes, Kylum, you are in the water.
That's unfortunate because it appears that the enemies are then some 30 feet above me, which is kind of inconvenient, to be honest. I don't think I can't jump up there. Climbing up there seems not super viable.
Well, the current's going this way, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you could climb up like here. That looks stepped.
There might be some better handholds.
I mean, I could get back up. I'm not that too worried about the details there. It's just where should I be?
Yeah, there's these dorks.
Yeah, that's probably the place to be. I said they probably can't shoot me from where I am, right?
That's true. Maybe the ones this side can, yeah, but the ones to the south cannot.
I think what I'm actually going to do is just take kind of a turn off and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just hugging the coastline here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just lay on hands myself to heal back up.
Smart.
Cool. All right,
And
so
next turn I'll work on these guys.
yeah, because you're able to stay near the cliff wall, you don't need to make any sort of check to swim along it. You've got enough handholds, and the the water's definitely a little shallower by the sides, where there's more mud and silt sort of stacked, getting all
I'm
over
kind of
your...
just like hanging out across the edge of the river, just sort of like holding the sides and going like like swimming across like this, healing myself as I go and getting ready to jump up and get the drop on these guys.
Nice. All right, Varanus in the fog cloud.
Okay. So let's see.
Oh, I forgot to roll for Bungo.
This individual. Oh, it wasn't in the initiative order. Well, I mean.
That's okay. He took a turn off because of his Magnus's. He heard the compass, right? She said compass, and so he's like, "Oh, yeah." He's like,
Feel you
Not
there. Okay. I think what I might do here is this. I know the cliff is right here. Let's see. When I make a weapon attack. Okay, so maybe what I do here is. Sorry, I'm having trouble moving my thing.
You'll refresh.
No, I think I got it now. If I go over this way, I'm out of the fog cloud, I believe.
Yep.
But can I see her, or looking through the cloud, I can't?
No. Yeah. Can't see her.
Okay. Then I tell you what. I probably will just... because I know he's in the fog cloud. Man, I don't really think I can do anything right now, sadly. I honestly am just going to move over here next to Sweetness, and I'll, have my shield out, and maybe be ready to, like, if any more attacks come his way, intercede or help in some way, but...
Sure.
I don't know
If someone approaches me and I'm blind and I get touched,
Yeah.
I feel like I should do a roll to see if I would just
Well-
fucking swing my
Be
axe.
frightened.
Yeah, or just honestly just attack. Unless
Well,
you come up
Baroness,
and you're
yeah,
like,
would you announce your presence to him through the fog?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, I pucker my lips.
Well, I don't see that in the fog cloud, but that's
But I
cool.
assume it's dark.
Yeah. So I have my shield ready. I don't know if that's an action that I can
I'll
do.
let you ready to defend him.
Just
Yeah.
defend, yeah. Kind of have my shield and
Could we,
Sure.
could we have a brief, brief conspire, as
Well, your turns are right next to each other, so go ahead.
well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Perhaps as soon as he comes up to me, I'm like, Baroness, I can't see that thing. I know where the crossbow bolts came from. What should we do?
like, well,
I know that I have no range. Range is.
yeah. I'm like, we'll need to get much closer to them before we can do anything. I say we, after this fog cloud disperses, split up, so they can't. They'll have to choose between targets, and then we'll take them down one by one.
Trivially true, yes. Okay, what I am gonna do is, so I have mobile, so I can move
Very
40 feet.
Yep.
So I can move 8 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, and I might do a double move.
Well, once you start moving into the water,
I
you're
was actually gonna ask. All right, I want to check. How deep is the water? Can I
well,
see?
after basically you can get to here and still be fine, but once it gets past there, it drops off real quick to, well, you don't, it's muddy, and so you
So
can't tell the
it's
depth.
not a crossable thing.
No.
Would this have been something? So would I have to get up close to it to have seen that? How deep? it is?
No, because you guys crossed it previously
Oh, we
on
crossed
your,
it on the way. You're right.
yeah.
Shit. Okay, never mind. I don't do that. I think I call to Amaran and be like, "Can you move the fog cloud?" Amaran, do you say anything? Is it something? Can you move that spell?
No.
Unless he has a gust of wind to blow it, but that's level 2.
I do have gust
Oh.
as a cantrip, so
You can blow it. You can blow the fire.
Not the whole thing, because the cantrip can't affect that much, but
we'll keep it.
Yeah.
It's helping out for now.
Shit. I'm gonna come back here and hide. There's just nothing I can do from this.
Yeah, we might be burning some
position.
turns here.
sure.
Yeah, I think this will be a turn. Actually, I'll move further into the fog. I remember I followed the edge. Just to, my hope is to get away from these guys because I remember there was like a little lip. So I think I just hug the wall and move
Sure.
past Baroness here, and I'll ready an action if because I know that she was up on the log.
Mhm.
If I sense someone above me, I'm just gonna take my little light pick and
Sure.
rip in their toe.
All right.
That's what I do.
All right. Scratch, snatch. Go get 'em, boys. And yeah, you hear the patter of weasel feet, and there you can hear them scenting as they come around, and that feeling you have, sweetness of something creeping above you. You get that.
So can I do a light pick attack?
Sure.
With disadvantage or something?
Yeah, you have disadvantage because of you're blinded,
Yeah, I'm just swinging in the
but you have advantage against. Oh. Well, you hit
against
anyway.
her. Oh, I would say I would have advantage against, or not advantage. I could use my critical analysis against her. If I
Right, but you do have advantage because they're technically blind too. The weasels, so
okay.
it sort of
But
cancels it out.
Either one would hit in this case, luckily.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah. So you get a good. You just jam your pick in, and you hear this squeal, from the weasel, but it's still flailing around, dislodges itself from your pick.
Baroness
And
can't see, but I'm looking in his direction. I'm like, oh god.
and comes in for a bite. So Varanus, are you using your
Yes,
ready?
I would like to throw the shield up and help.
Who above us?
Yeah. All right. So he will have disadvantage. He has the double blind thing, but you'll grant him disadvantage on top of that.
Right.
Fine. 10 sweetness. So yes, Varanus is able to deflect. The weasel's clawing, against your wooden shield.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Meanwhile, while you're defending that way, make an athletics or acrobatics check, Varanus, with disadvantage.
Okay, I will do athletics, which is, let's see, I believe +4 for me. Okay. So I think my lowest there is an 8.
8. Yes, so all the weasel is, as you're defending from the one above, the other one had come into the far side and clamps its jaws on your ankle and pulls you out of the fog.
Mm.
And yeah, sweetness.
What a weasel.
All right. And Bungo finally shakes himself up, and he's like, "Did I hear you need a sharpshooter?" And he, peeks around sort of the edge of this fog cloud, and he lines up a shot on this bandit down in the southern woods. And I think he has any way to get advantage. Oh no, he doesn't have any way to get advantage. So he's gonna take a shot with his sharpshooter feat, taking -5 on the attack roll. Oh.
No way.
And
when your
There's
roll
no
ends up
feat
a
in the
0.
world that would have stopped that. It's fine.
it's true. He only rolled a 2.
And then seeing what the damage would have been just makes it all the more painful.
Yeah. So his crossbow bolt thuds like right into the stone of the bluff, but it sticks in the stone. Right. It was a powerful shot from this hand crossbow.
In reply to him after he says that, I'm like, as I'm like being drug away by a weasel with my shield, I'm like, yeah, do you know one?
That's a good one. Just for that, Varanus, like the great dragons of old, I think you should be particularly inspired.
I won't argue.
So you get an inspiration die.
Excellent. Let's see. Maybe I'll put a little blue symbol on it.
Sure. And then bandits. Let's see. Well, Omarin is the only one that's really sort of in the open for them. Oh, but it is beyond their short range. So they have disadvantage.
Good tactics.
You can see my master plan all come together here.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Just like we drew it up, eh, boys? There we go.
Disadvantage. 15?
Aye. He said yes.
Yeah.
Be a hit.
So the crossbow bolt sizzles through the air, and nearly gets you for three damage there. They start reloading, while the others hone in on Varanus.
Or Varanus.
Almost did that again. You guys have 5 story points if you want.
Yeah, so I tell you what, I'll throw one in for this attack.
All right.
Why
There's
not?
2
We can use
attacks
them.
coming
Can't
in,
use
but yeah.
Yeah, but does it apply? I only can apply it to one, right?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, so I'll just do it to one of the attacks. Yeah.
All right. 3, 4, 1. All right. Coming in with disadvantage. And the second one coming in normal. Oof, but your dragon scales and shield are too much, and they're like, you think this is worth it? We can't seem to hit them, like, at all. And the woman on the bridge is like, don't you worry, I'll find it. And she disappears. Or, you know, she moves into the fog.
Okay, I was gonna say
and Sweetness, you can hear her moving not quite close to you, but moving sort of northward to your left.
Right, real quick. Omarin, when he took that little bit of damage, does he need to make a con save to maintain
Oh,
the
that's
fog
true.
cloud?
Fog cloud
It just
is
becomes
concentration.
such a tactical element of this encounter.
Yes.
Nice to know if it...
Yeah, so Omarin, a Constitution saving Constitution check for.
I'll take advantage on this. I'll take a story point.
All right.
Zach, it's not a saving throw though. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, right. Constitution saving.
But in any case, it looks like you're good.
Nice. Great. So the fog cloud stays. Yes. So Sweetness. Yeah, you hear the soft pad of boots moving nearby.
But not close enough to strike.
Correct. Yeah. All right. Omarin.
Omarin's gonna drop his pack to the ground. Take out his net and his spear and charge into the fog cloud in the hopes that he will encounter this lady. That's very rude to us.
Sure. Why don't you make a perception check? It will have disadvantage unless you have a way to try and detect with means other than eyes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any special elf or weird shit, do I? Like that. There's not something I'm missing here.
Not.
Level?
You just have proficiency, and yeah, not at this level, basically.
You don't have true sight at level 2? What's your deal?
I mean,
Or blind sense. Yeah. So
Trainer.
you're moving through the cloud, and you fall down the cliff face. That's right here. So
boy.
make me a dexterity saving throw.
oh, that should not have had disadvantage.
All right, so you take 5 falling damage as you tumble down. Sweetness, you hear a tumble of limbs and what maybe is a big piece of rope falling to the bottom of this cliff nearby.
Could I So, given the fact that I just heard who I'm pretty sure is this woman across, I have strong reason to suspect that it's not her, right?
Yes.
It's coming from a different direction.
Right. And, well, Omar, what does it sound like when you slip in the fog down this hill?
The fog you created.
Yeah.
You hear Lauren say, "I knew I should have stayed at sea."
And make another Constitution save for concentration.
Oh, brother.
Oh!
Oh god.
And the
My
Yeah,
fog
like-
cloud. Well, it'll
Guys.
reveal her for better or for worse, probably.
Well,
It will. And you did make a really good dexterity saving throw, so you're able to land on your feet, and you can see she is just slightly up the hill from where you were walking. But you could finish your movement and get up to her, if you wish.
does my trident have a reach?
No, you can throw it,
Okay.
but it doesn't have a reach.
I'll move up and how did the two action the
Two-
net and
Yes,
I-
2-weapon fighting. So you can basically make one attack as your normal action, and your offhand attack as your bonus action. But you have to take the bonus action after the normal action. And the attack with your offhand weapon doesn't deal your ability modifier damage.
Got it. So I will, as a bonus action, cast some Shillelagh
Mmm.
on my trident.
Right.
as I
So
use those
how
fruits.
about you click? There's a button to show the feat. So because this is a homebrew feat that Omarin has here.
It is the
Oh, that's
King
cool. The Kingfisher.
Yes.
Like
So
the
it
coolest
is-
name.
It's all about the net and trident combo, giving
Learn.
several different kinds of bonuses.
You learn
Um,
that the potent combination of trapping and skewering is the best way to catch slippery prey, whether on land or sea. You gain following benefits. You learn the Shillelagh cantrip. You can cast it on tridents. Also the web spell. You can use nets as though they have finesse. And that seems like it. Alright.
And yeah, nets get a little
Like-
better, and he's able to
Yeah.
mend broken nets a lot easier.
I was thinking that was so cool, and then I took the mending spell at second level and was like, well, okay, it was cool. It is cool.
Still
Hey, it uses a cantrip slot, so you know.
It's true. That's
All right. So yeah, so your trident sort of grows this almost like, well, yeah. What happens when you cast Shillelagh on your trident?
It kind of like the tip kind of shimmers and it turns a greenish color and it smells like gross seawater. It smells like gross seaweed.
Oh,
It's
she's
like not sexy. It's like
Yeah.
not cool. It's
yeah,
like,
she's not happy. This is coming near her, I guess.
it's like definitely gross. This
Yeah.
is like not cool. This is like gross.
All right. So
Look at it.
oh, you have to be here.
Wow,
Yeah. So you
another
can make.
decent roll.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. 10 piercing damage coming in. All right, so with your spell imbued trident, yeah, you definitely put a good hurting on her. She tries to parry, you know, with her barbed short sword, but yeah, your attack is too swift. Alrighty. Well, Kylum,
Well,
still in the water.
if the cloud was still up, I was kind of thinking of coming to help you guys, but now it seems like the ranged attackers are probably a little bit more of a problem.
They are.
However,
So-
these ones down here can't see Sweetness and Varanus right now because they're sort of in a
Oh,
lower.
interesting. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
kind of in cover. That's
Right.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
Huh. Yeah, I still probably should engage them. not sure it's the most tactically useful thing to do, but it is a convenient thing to do. So we'll try
So
that
you're
out.
gonna
Besides,
try to scale this cliff?
no, I'm not actually gonna try to scale the cliff, because the cliff is 30 feet, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have the elven ability Phase Step, which lets me magically teleport 30 feet to an unoccupied space I can see.
Let's go.
Nice.
So I will Phase Step up.
Don't do it.
so, so I up and ever so slightly forward, and just use my bonus action to suddenly appear at the top of this cliff, running at this
Bam.
sharpshooter, this sniper.
Wow.
Shooter.
That
Amazing.
is awesome. Yeah, so
Ability?
Eladrin, I believe.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
a related thing. It's like for high elves, but yeah.
right.
Oh, hi.
It also gets better as I level up, but we'll cross that bridge later.
Yeah,
Well,
so
now we
just
know what you are under your helmet. No.
just out of nowhere, yeah, you appear in a
Phase Step.
wisp of smoke in front of this dwarf, and he's like, "What the hell?" And you're coming in to stab him.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
It's gonna work. Told ya.
17. All right.
That is a hit for sure.
I will also smite this guy.
Oh,
Fuck yeah.
All right.
lovely.
So that's 2d8, I believe.
And also click the rapier button
Yeah.
for damage. Okay.
It's more dramatic if I wait a little bit. But
I
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I see.
Total of 13 damage.
All right. So how does your smite appear when you yeah.
Give us some flavor, man.
Yeah.
As my rapier streaks through the air, it starts like trailing this like golden water. It's like a wave emitting from the wave as it slices through the air right into the sky, and as it goes through his armor, is covered in like some bright golden light like fills the air.
Wow.
So cool.
And he puts up, he dropped his crossbow as you were stabbing in at him, and this golden light just suffuses him directly through his leather armor, and he just slumps off of your blade.
Oh yes.
And he's like, the other guy's like, "What? You're gonna pay for that, little skinny man?"
That's it for my turn. That was my bonus action to teleport.
All right.
My attack to do that.
Excellent.
Well, you could move if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Actually, probably should
Teleport
finish
above
moving.
there. So cool.
Yeah.
What a
So I should
turn.
finish moving
Nice.
to get it.
Make sure
Yeah,
you get
so
right up in his face.
it's difficult terrain to get through, this brush, but you have enough to move. And he's like, so you want to fight up close? And he goes to draw his scimitar. But first, Varanus.
Yes, I will attack this weasel in front of me. I have my shield up, and I sort of momentarily move it aside to just a strong overhand bash, attack it with my quarterstaff. So here I go. I may use my bardic inspiration depending on how this goes, but
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Point.
Yeah.
I don't. I think
I think I might. I think it could. It's a D6, right?
it's a D6. Okay.
At
Yeah.
bardic inspiration?
Yeah. D6.
Yeah, I'll give it. I'll go ahead and expend it.
Oh, and
Is that?
Nice, dude.
Bungo has inspired you just enough. Literally just enough to smack this weasel.
I love it. So I think what I will.
You've got macros on your sheet.
Yes, I know. I just Yeah, that's a good point. Actually. But is there any way to do it like how you did, where you just make the damage appear, or the?
Yeah, so there's a gear setting that says, auto roll damage on your
I'll do
sheet.
it some other
We'll
time.
sort that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I will just roll. I'll just do it normally this time, but it'll
Yeah.
be
D6 plus
1d6 plus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 5.
All right, you smack the weasel, and you know it yelps,
Hmm.
but hisses, you know, growls at you a little bit.
Yeah, alright, so I will... Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to do that now. You hit a creature with your weapon attack. I could do my superior technique, and I add a superiority die to the damage.
Yeah,
And
you
then
could.
they must make a strength saving throw or fall prone.
Sure.
It's a prone weasel, you know. Their legs are like this long.
Have to use half its movement to get up. Tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right, so I will. What did I just say? Is it a D6?
D6.
You can
Okay,
disengage
so
with
I'll
that
add
now.
another D6 to that from my staff flurry here.
Nice.
So another
10.
5.
And that is enough. Your maneuver just you carry it out, and you know the extra momentum lays out this weasel. And you hear from behind you, "No, Scratch!"
And then I'll use my movement now that I won't provoke from anybody here. So, does it seem like the way that this is built, that if I were to move over this way, they couldn't see me? Like, these guys over here? Or is
No,
it
they
not
could.
So?
Yeah, they could still see you.
Okay,
they basically,
so in that case,
yeah.
That's good enough. That's at a glance.
You could move next to me here.
That's what I was gonna do, and then I have this bush blocking me. Shoot, I might even go here just to trap that weasel.
I'm gonna let you be the weasel killer.
Okay, cool. So then, yeah, I'll be there, and then end my turn.
All right. Sweet.
So real quick, are we playing to? If I use part of my move, is that the end of my move?
No. You can break up your move as much as you want.
Okay, you can break up your move. Good. So I would like to move into the space here, dip in, and I'm gonna use one maneuver to exploit weakness. And also, because I have the mobile feat and I attacked that weasel, I don't provoke an opportunity attack.
But I think that is until the start of your turn.
That weasel hasn't gone again.
Right, but the start of your next turn. Click.
After, because mine was not a reaction. It was a provoked attack, or
sure.
It was a reaction. It was a reaction.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it wasn't on my turn that I did it. I don't know.
Right. Let me look at the mobile feat.
I have it right here. It says when you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke an opportunity attack from that creature for the rest.
For the rest of the turn. Right. So that's only that turn. Whoever's turn that was.
Thinking that because it was a reaction, it was the weasel's turn is when I did it.
Right. So now it's your turn. So it's a different turn. Different turn. So yeah, mobile doesn't allow you that much.
Well, then I fucking provoke. I don't care.
All right. Well.
My turn starts always on my turn. No.
Yeah. Here we go.
Giant weasel. Or you could just attack it.
I don't want to. I have critical, my critical
analysis. Oh, yeah, your critical analysis on the leader. Probably missed.
12, yep. You're able to nimbly dodge its bite. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna do an attack. Do we get advantage for two of us? I don't know how.
No, but if you get into a flanking position across from each other, you do get.
From here, so 5, 10, 15. Yep, that's half my movement.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take advantage on. And
so it's not advantage, but +2 for flanking.
Oh, it's +2.
So yeah, so that's the flanking house rule we're using, +2. Okay. And if you get 3 people surrounding, it's +5.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna do then a normal roll too.
As a hit.
Yep. So when I did my critical analysis already, so it changes. Yeah, it lets me just use my intelligence modifier. damage, and also, for my I can additionally once per turn you use a maneuver targeting your analyzed target. You can roll an additional d4 and add the number rolled to the total. So I'll roll an additional d4.
Well, that's only if you use a maneuver, right?
I did. I used my exploit weakness.
Oh, that's right.
So when I hit the target with the weapon attack, I can expend. Oh, I can. So I also get to expend an
Right.
superiority.
So you roll a d6 and a d4.
Yep. D6.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then roll. 5.
Nice.
Dude.
Yes.
So 5 plus 4 plus 4. Yeah, 13.
Wow. With your superiority, you bring her down. Which weapon were you using?
So even though I'm using my short sword, I want to flavor it I picture him doing this sort of floaky combo stuff. So it's like the light pick to the ankle, and as she drops, like short sword to the thing, and then like swinging the pick over her shoulder into her fucking chest.
She's and yeah, as she you're about to do this, she's like, don't kill me, please. We'll stop. This isn't. Oh wow. Well, she's at 0, so you didn't kill her.
Okay, I won't kill. Yeah, I say I'll think about reviving. Right in the moment, he's just like, ah! And then I think I'll use the rest of my move to like I just immediately split. I'm like. Panting back by Varanus.
Sure. Well, this weasel, it goes over to, it uses disengage and scurries over the sort of unconscious woman and bares its teeth at Omar, and even though it is also already severely wounded, it's sort of defending.
Could I call out? Like, your leader is down. Surrender your arms.
Yeah, we can see that.
I could save her.
Ooh.
Oh. They're like, how do we know you're not just gonna kill us all?
No one would ever lie around this log area.
Right? I say, think about it. I was like, you have an advantage. You're there with your crossbows. We're here. Many lives would be lost. Who's to say who would come out?
Sure. Why don't you just make a persuasion check? I know it's not Sweetness's.
I have.
Yeah.
Hey, we have story points.
I'll use a story point.
All right.
This feels very story-like.
Which I think is why Sweetness would describe the situation as like, I don't really have good reason to convince you who would win. I actually think we're pretty squared off. It could be bad.
And Varanus is thinking that Kylum, based on what he's seen, could probably just take out all these little glebes.
Wait, not all at the same time?
Yeah.
But given the situation, they can definitely see the leader's been brought down and how the weasel's acting. So they're like, fine, it's not worth it. They don't pay us enough. If you save her, and we'll put down our weapons.
Sweetness sort of comes out, with his weapons up, and is like, and stows them, and his hands are. And I'll move to the body, and I want to see them sort of make a similar gesture, come out and take their bolts out of their. Maybe I even say that. It was like, remove the bolts from your crossbows.
You see them sort of look over at each other, and they're like, all right. So they, slowly take their bolts out, step forward a little bit. The other one has just already dropped his crossbow, so he's just squared off with Kylam.
I sort of say to Amaran, Varanus, and Bungo, I was like, get across the bridge.
All right. Yeah. Good thinking.
Amaran is gonna look and say, "I'm worried about this lady's furry snatch. He seems very, very hurt."
Oh, I mean, he's dead.
No. This is furry snatch. This is.
Oh,
Right. That's Snatch.
He's
Yeah.
not so he'll live. I know.
Bungo's like, oh, no.
Just throw Amaran into the water, by the way.
Okay, as they're crossing the bridge, once I see that they're across, I say, okay, I'm going to help her. And I cut her throat. I'm kidding.
Well, the one problem is the weasel, because it was not part of these negotiations. Oh yeah, it's still like, looking up at you.
Okay. It's just baring its teeth.
Yeah, and it's.
Wow, does this require an animal handling?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, how funny. All right, I will try.
Or Amaran could do it. He's still there.
I mean, I guess maybe if Amaran notices, he could. But I'm imagining that I sort of urged them to get across. If it comes to it, maybe I'll call to one. What do I do about this weasel?
You pop it.
I'll try animal handling. We'll see. Oh, sorry. Take the. Oh, okay.
There you go.
18.
Job.
Hey, you're able to, non-aggressively as you can, show your intentions, and the weasel backs off enough, allows you to administer to this woman.
Okay, I'm going to minister to her, and I give her the good news. And I'll expend one of my healing kits, and I'll stabilize her up to 1 hit point.
All right. Well, you don't need to spend a healer's kit used to just do that. I don't think.
It says when you use one. I thought it had 10 use.
Oh, I thought that was when you do the bigger thing, but maybe it is. Sure.
Oh no!
All right. Because she's more just tottering at the edge of consciousness, right? Your blow was definitely incapacitated her, but she's like,
Well, still, I patch up the wounds.
Sure.
They were surgically precise strikes. The critical analysis.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, you saved me?
That might be something I play into, of bringing characters right to death. I think I might do that more.
Does that make it sound more evil?
Well, again, I'm not actually interested in killing people, but I'm recognizing in certain moments, and I'd like to I even use a story point to reflavor this.
Yeah. How about, since Chad is also gone, how about we take just a few minute break, and we can you think about what the next step is and so on.
Okay, I'm gonna get some soup. 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Put the away screen up on the
Can they
stream.
still hear us on the way screen?
Probably. How do you... Well, just mute yourself in Discord, I guess, and we'll leave the music on for them.
Whoa, what happened?
Hey, we're taking a 5-minute break.
Oh, okay. I was really interested. Alright, I'll be right back.
Ignore me. Thanks for some break.
I was going around to Mom's kitchen to turn the light off.
I had to listen to that long ass pee and wait for things. Things in there.
That long ass.
Do we have any of those unique sodas left?
No, I think you drank the last one, the cherry one.
No, I mean like the ones you got for my birthday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some of the blackberry, there's some of the winey
Hey, Zach.
one, and then one of the.
Zach.
Yeah. Are you? Sorry.
Sorry.
Am I not muted? Oh boy. Yes, Mark.
Saying they can still on stream. Your audio's still there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, good to know. Well, I muted myself in one. There is, yes. Would you like any ice? And any blackberries or? You know, that's why streams are fun. Yeah. Some weird random thing. Happy accidents. Bob Ross. The dinosaur artist. Wow, so that was a thing.
Sorry, guys, I'm here. I was just muted since I was chewing.
That's all right. I'll throw it back up. All right, and we're back. So yes, Sweetness has healed the bandit leader. And yes, the bandits have ceased hostility. It's all right. She's like, you could just go, just go. And she looks over to her deceased weasel.
Sorry, there's nothing I can do. Did I miss anything?
No.
So if she's awake and she's like sort of not doing so hot, Omarin is gonna sort of menacingly stand over this lady and say, "Who are you to accost honest travelers coming through the woods?"
Was Omarin over with me? I thought you were going across the fucking bridge.
I didn't see you. Are you kidding? I wasn't going to leave you alone with a crazy weasel. You are not qualified to deal with it.
That was the worry.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Okay.
All right. So yeah. She's like, well, I mean, that's how we make our living, but we got paid extra to be on the lookout for, well, some of your types.
Our types meaning elves or good-looking folk or men with beards?
She looks around and she's like, well, no, adventuring folk.
And who paid you?
And she pulls out a little slip of parchment from her pocket. And it basically just says, K's people moving through bandit breaks, recover any artifacts, and signed just SJ.
Any idea who SJ might be?
Not off.
Could I jog my memory? Do those initials match like any of the merchant princes that I've heard of? Or anything like that? Like
you could make a history check.
I'd like to make a history check as well. I'm
sure.
Just, I grew up in Slough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if that name might ring a bell from my days. Ignore the advantage part. It's 20. Oh, wait.
Wow.
Those were 21.
And I got a 22.
Yeah. Jeez.
You win.
Yeah, in fact, you've heard of, or you can make a fair guess who this SJ might be. A merchant prince named Sujet.
Sujet?
Well, like, it's just single name. Here.
Okay, sure.
But as a sort of shortened or slightly cryptic form that merchant princes might use, SJ, you're pretty sure this would correspond to someone you've heard of. It's a merchant prince who is very underhanded, right? Will definitely use any ways to upstage his rivals.
Gotcha. Yep, that fits.
So, are you gonna let us go?
That entirely depends on what you're going to do for us.
What?
I think Sweetness was looking over to Omarin for confirmation that, like, we can go, right? We were never here. This looks bad for you. it's bad for us, and then Omar, it's like, what are you gonna do for us? And Sweet, do we want to be involved with these folks?
They're not trustworthy either way, so...
Look,
I mean, it looks bad if they fucked up. It's better that it's in their advantage to just say they didn't see us.
He's smart. He's smart. Listen to him. That's exactly right.
Then how are you going to explain your dead companion in your wounded furry snatch?
Owl bears. Owl bears. It's mating season.
And I literally agree. I'm just like, all kinds of bandits. It's a bandit breaks.
Other bandits? I don't. This seems sus to me. If I were your boss, I would
One band
not.
of breaks. Band of bandit breaks.
Look, maybe we never even see that boss again, okay? It doesn't matter to us. There's plenty of people to work for.
I'm not giving, you know, I think you're probably going to follow us until anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie you guys up. We're going to leave you in the woods. And then we'll put some grease on the ropes so that the rats will chew through them in a few days. And then you can go.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
That seems, Omar, that seems a little elaborate.
Sweetness notes for future reference. Oh, put some grease on the ropes so the rats choose.
But then it's like, no, hold on a minute. Well, I'm on the other side of the bridge. I'm not really.
I mean, if that's what you feel you have to do, it seems like a lot of work when you could just, you know, be on your way.
For you to stab us when we make camp?
Are you serious?
Look, how long is our trip back to Grayhaven?
So it's a day and a half of travel at a normal pace.
We will need to camp.
So you will need to camp unless you push, right? Unless you force march it through.
No, Daddy's got exhaustion. He ain't pushing right now.
Sweetness kind of hangs his head and is like, friend is right. I don't know that we can trust you not to follow it. So I'm sorry for this. And I take the sort of blunt side of my axe and I'm gonna break her ankle.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
She screams. And, well, Kylam, you've been...
I give her a healing kit to sort of help with, you know, and maybe some, like, poultices. I'm like, this will help with the pain.
The bandit next to you, Kylam, is like, what's going on over there? Betrayal! And he's holding up his...
I immediately turn and pull my dagger, and I was like, you shoot, and I will run her through the heart!
It sounds like you're doing a good job of that already.
I'm also confused by all this, so I'm like, maybe betrayal. I don't know.
I've broken her ankle.
Could be.
Honestly, couldn't tell you.
It's a tibial fracture to the lower metacarpal. I'm making this. You know, but yeah, I just explain. You know, I've broken her ankle merely to ensure that you will not follow us. Said it, and I would say I've reset. It's merely a fracture. She'll be fine in a couple of, not a couple, 5 weeks.
In a couple of 5 weeks.
I'll lean into Sweetness and be like, you know, the rest of them could just follow us, right?
Oh my god.
We'd have the upper hand.
You can tell definitely she was the most, especially since you did your. She's definitely the most competent of the group.
I think when I see the commotion over here, Bungo and I kind of look warily at them and make sure they don't go for their weapons. I'm just like,
I mean, Bungo's got his hand crossbow on him too.
I say it. Sweetness keeps his hands up and starts to back away, you know, and it's like, I wish you good fortune, you know.
I think it's time we all go our separate ways.
Yeah. Agreed, she says through clenched teeth.
Sweetness is surprisingly mobile.
So Omarin is gonna pick up his pack.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna walk to this lady, and he is going to make a stash of good berries and say, lean in and say, he's not a very good doctor, but I also don't trust you. So I'm going to put these over here. And by the time you crawl to get them, we'll have a good head start. And then Omarin's going to leave.
All right. So you guys, depart, right? The bandits stand aside, right? And they, soon start heading over the bridge after you pass. And as you're sort of leaving the scene, right, off camera from where you guys can't see, this woman's just like, what? And she sends the weasel to go get the berries.
I mean, did the weasel just, like, eat them?
It might eat a couple, for sure.
Could I do?
And she's like,
Could I do perception with disadvantage just to see if I happen to see that?
Sure.
I'm not looking for it.
I'd love that if you did see that, Blake, you're just like.
I'm marching back over. All right, like her other ankle.
Wow.
There we go, Mr. Twinsies tonight.
17.
So,
do see it.
I mean, you see the weasel go over and grab the pouch of berries.
I think actually Sweetness is like,
Fuck it.
we'll pay for this if we pay for it. And it won't be my fault.
What do you mean?
He says to himself in his head.
Is that an old saying? Oh.
All right. Well, you guys
Leveled up?
make your way through the bandit breaks. You camp another evening.
Good job.
But soon enough, the next, halfway through the next day, slightly before noon, you come to the outskirts of Grayhaven.
Oh, paint me a picture, Zach.
Known.
Do I shed my remaining level of exhaustion in doing that?
Well, you will need to make another saving throw against the
picture
recurring
of,
cloak exhaustion.
Exhaustion is what I meant.
Yes, let me do that. It's a Constitution.
Constitution saving throw. Yep.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Yes. So you do recover from your level of exhaustion, feeling much better by the time you arrive at Grayhaven. It is known as the Jewel of the West, and for good reason. It is the largest and most important city in the Greenwald, which is the region on the western coast of this continent. It has, towers, right, spire out of this place, including a few wizards' towers that sort of orbit, right, and rotate, suspended in midair on one side of the city. Massive gray stone walls loom up over you, a testament of the city, that the city has stood for centuries, keeping out any attack from the land. Grayhaven itself is ostensibly ruled by a queen, but you know that the merchants and guilds definitely have lots of influence in the city.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Zach, I don't know
Yeah.
if we'd have a moment like back when we camped the night before.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The only thing that I think would be worth bringing up and having some perspective on in as a group before we head in the city is the idea that Sujet, the merchant prince, could very well be the one that betrayed us. And yeah, maybe we just have some idea of what we're gonna do before we head in the city, if it's a flashback or whatever the case may be. But anyway, just a thought before we get in the trenches here.
I imagine that night, Sweetness, especially having seen the Goodberry thing, just seems a bit on edge. He probably doesn't sleep particularly well that night, might stay up a little later by the fire.
How would we tell the difference?
That's so true. Yeah, he just constantly seems like
He's an anxious fella.
he's very anxious. Yeah, so I think so. I think I also rolled history and got Sujet. So I mean, maybe
Yeah.
once we're sort of settled in, Sweetness just sort of proffers to the group. So, Sujet.
Sit tight.
No, you
Take it
misunderstand.
time. Yeah. Indeed.
It's very likely the merchant prince that hired those bandits to take the compass from us.
That seems likely.
Uh,
What do we know about? Do we know anything about her? The relationship. So we know, Corvisa
Corvisa,
and
Ramius.
are sort of rivals. Do we know anything about the relationship, or where Sujet sort of figures into the relationship?
Well, Sujet, you definitely are more familiar with him or the stories about him from Slew, right? From your time there. You didn't know really how much business he had in Grayhaven up until this point. But of course, being the merchant princes, they have access to vast networks of, underworld spies, assassins, and have the money to make inquiries, as they might say.
Do I have any?
Sorry.
Just from that independent reason for, I guess independent from as like, oh, he's a powerful merchant, who of course would want to wish. Do I have any independent reason, or any reasons independent of that, for thinking that Sujet, that they might be interested in the star? They asked specifically about the compass.
Yeah, so that is, Bungo's sort of scratching his head too.
Yeah, they seem to know about the compass. It's funny, 'cause we went in there not even knowing.
Right.
Good point.
Maybe they used some sort of divination on us, and
I think Sweetness is sort of scratching his head. Knew something about the monastery. Something specific. They had better intel than we did. Intel. He does not say intel. Intelligence. They had better information, is what he says. Intel. I'm so sorry. Embarrassing in character. Had better information.
I mean, who knows?
And I do describe that as like, Jed, I don't know. How do they identify? Do they identify with the ginger? I can use they.
The stories you've heard it's been a he. Yeah.
Okay. I say I know this Sujet. He uses he. I did from Slew, typical sort of merchant prince. I don't know why, other than power and money, that he'd be interested in the star, but I also don't know how he would have known. Why wouldn't have, is it any more powerful than Corvisa?
It's from the tales, yes.
Yes.
So,
see, I know he might have more influence than Corvisa, but
Just
did he have
by
information specifically about the compass?
Well, just by the mere fact that he would dispatch bandits to steal it once another group had presumably taken it speaks to his cunning. I imagine.
Did he know another group was in search of it? Did he have a copy of the letter? Why were they waiting for us?
What if this is all a conspiracy? If the only one that could have told him that we were doing this would be our employer, unless word had traveled to...
Sweetness is just like, presumptively she's the only one. She might have dispatched information to advise her.
Well, and this
betrayed her, but this does complicate the ship.
The other person it could have been Varanus.
Does Kylan say that?
Yeah.
And I
I
just,
give a look over to Baroness, and
I
don't
say,
even-
Kylo.
Yeah.
I take offense by that.
I'm saying there's plenty of people who could know. Don't worry, Varanus. I don't believe you sent assassins after yourself.
Well, that's a
Unless
relief.
you're really cunning.
Well, I'm not so sure I am.
either accept the insult that you're not very cunning, or you did.
I would say that what I recall about Sujet is they have spies in their employ, so the idea that they would have this information doesn't seem hard to imagine. But what I'm thinking is that we might be presumed dead and should be careful about how we go gallivanting through Grayhaven. If spies in Sujet's employ were to tell them that we're alive, it could complicate matters.
Sweetness, I'm doing what I'm doing, sort of speak. Yeah. Eyes closed as he's just in sort of deep concentration. It's like, I think we have a few days. The bandits won't want to let